You're sitting there right now, staring at your screen, and something inside you feels tight. Maybe you've just closed a trade too early. Maybe you hesitated when you knew you should have acted. Maybe you're replaying the same mistake you promised yourself you wouldn't make again. And beneath all of it, there's this uncomfortable feeling you can't quite name. It's not fear. Exactly. It's not doubt. Exactly. It's something deeper. It's uncertainty. And uncertainty doesn't just whisper to wit, rewires you. Most traders think their biggest problem is reading the market wrong. They think if they just had better analysis, better indicators, better timing, everything would fall into place. But that's not what destroys accounts. What destroys accounts is what happens inside you when you don't know what's going to happen next. When the outcome is unclear, when you're standing at the edge of a decision and every part of you is screaming in different directions, uncertainty hijacks your behavior. Not sometimes, every single time. And until you understand how that hijacking works, you'll keep repeating the same patterns, wondering why you can't follow your own rules. Let me take you somewhere quiet for a moment. Imagine you're about to enter a trade. You've done your analysis. You know your setup. Everything looks right. But just before you click, something shifts. A tiny voice asks, "What if I'm wrong? What if this is the one that wipes out my progress? What if I miss something?" And suddenly, you're not making a decision based on your plan anymore. You're making a decision based on how uncomfortable you feel with not knowing. That discomfort is uncertainty, and your brain hates it. Your brain is built to predict, to control, to find safety in patterns. When it can't predict, it panics. Not loudly, quietly, subtly. It starts making you do things that feel like protection, but are actually. So, what does it look like when uncertainty takes over? It looks like hesitation when your setup is perfect. It looks like overconfidence after one good trade, because certainty feels so good that you chase it. It looks like revenge trading because losing feels like chaos and you need to restore order immediately. It looks like moving your stop loss because you can't handle the possibility of being stopped out. It looks like closing a winning trade early because profit in hand feels safer than profit at risk. Every single one of these behaviors is you trying to escape uncertainty. And here's the part that most traders never realize. The escape is the problem. The moment you start trading to reduce your discomfort instead of following your edge, you've lost. You've handed control over to your emotional system, and your emotional system doesn't care about probabilities. It cares about feeling safe right now. Let's go deeper. Why does uncertainty feel so unbearable? Because it reminds you that you're not in control. And traders, more than almost anyone, struggle with this. You came to trading because you wanted freedom, independence, control over your financial future. But the market doesn't care what you want. The market is a probability machine. It doesn't owe you certainty. It doesn't owe you clarity. And every time you face a decision, you're forced to sit with the fact that you cannot know what will happen next. That's terrifying. Not in a dramatic way. In a quiet, gnawing way. It sits in your chest. It tightens your shoulders. It makes you refresh your screen compulsively. It makes you check your positions at 3 in the morning. It makes you feel like you're doing something productive, when really, you're just trying to manage the discomfort of not knowing. And here's where it gets insidious. Your brain learns to associate trading with this discomfort. So it starts creating stories to give you the illusion of control. It tells you that if you just watch the charts more carefully, you'll see the signs earlier. It tells you that if you just find the right system, you'll eliminate the guesswork. It tells you that other traders have figured it out and you're just missing something. But none of that is true. The traders who succeed aren't the ones who eliminated uncertainty. They're the ones who stopped trying to. They made peace with it. They learned to act in the presence of it. They stopped needing to know and started trusting their process instead. Let me say that again, because it's everything. They stopped needing to know. Think about what happens when you need certainty. You wait for confirmation. You wait for more signals. You wait until it feels safe. But by the time it feels safe, the opportunity is gone. Or you enter. But you're so afraid of being wrong that you manage the trade emotionally instead of systematically. You watch every tick. You interpret every movement as evidence that you should get out. You turn a probabilistic edge into an emotional endurance test. And when you lose, which you will, because losing is part of trading, uncertainty floods back in even stronger. Now you're not just uncertain about the next trade. You're uncertain about yourself. Am I capable of this? Am I fooling myself? Maybe I'm not cut out for this. And that uncertainty about your identity is even more destabilizing than uncertainty about the market. This is the cycle. Uncertainty makes you uncomfortable. Discomfort makes you act to escape. Escape behaviors. Destroy your edge. Destroying your edge makes you lose. Losing intensifies uncertainty. And around you go. So, how do you break it? Not by getting rid of uncertainty. You can't. Not by becoming fearless. That's a fantasy. You break it by changing your relationship with not knowing. Right now, you treat uncertainty like a problem to solve, like something that shouldn't be there, like evidence that you're not ready, or your plan isn't good enough, or the market is too unpredictable. But what if uncertainty isn't a problem? What if it's just the environment? What if trading in the presence of uncertainty is the entire job? When you reframe it that way, everything shifts. You stop asking, how do I make this feel certain? You start asking, how do I act effectively, even though it's uncertain? That's a completely different question, and it leads to completely different behavior. Acting effectively in uncertainty means you follow your rules even when you don't feel like it. It means you take the trade your system says to take, knowing you might lose, and being okay with that. It means you let your winners run, even though every part of you wants to lock in profit. It means you accept the stop out without immediately needing to make it back. It means you sit with the discomfort instead of reacting to it. That's discipline. Real discipline. Not forced willpower. Not gritting your teeth and trying harder. It's the ability to stay present with uncertainty and still execute your plan. And that ability is not built by finding certainty. It's built by practicing discomfort. Every time you feel that tightness before a trade and you take it anyway, you're training your nervous system. You're teaching yourself that uncertainty doesn't have to control you. Every time you let a trade run and resist the urge to interfere, you're proving to yourself that you can tolerate not knowing. Every time you lose and you don't spiral into revenge trading, you're reinforcing that losses are information, not identity. This is the real work. Not learning more setups, not finding a better strategy. Learning to be with yourself when you don't know what's going to happen. And here's what most traders miss. Uncertainty doesn't just affect your entries and exits. It affects your entire relationship with trading. It's why you feel anxious on Sunday night before the market opens. It's why you obsessively check your account balance. It's why you feel shame when you lose and euphoria when you win, instead of just neutral observation. It's why you compare yourself to other traders and feel inadequate. It's why you keep searching for the secret, the edge, the thing that will finally make it all make sense. You're trying to escape the fundamental nature of trading, and you can't. No one can. The traders you admire, the ones who seem calm and consistent, they're not operating in a different market. They're operating with a different mindset. They've accepted that every trade is a guess. An educated guess, a probabilistic guess, but still a guess. And they've made peace with that. When you make peace with it, something remarkable happens. You stop needing the market to validate you. You stop needing every trade to work. You stop interpreting losses as failure and wins as proof of skill. You start seeing trading for what it actually is, a process of executing a plan over and over, letting probabilities play out, and managing yourself in the space between action and outcome. That space is where uncertainty lives, and that space is where you have to learn to breathe. Let me tell you what happens when you don't. When you keep running from uncertainty, you become reactive. You become a trader who's always just responding to how you feel. You're confident after wins, so you're shaken after losses, so you're afraid of missing out, so you chase. You're afraid of losing, so you freeze. Your equity curve becomes a mirror of your emotional state, not your edge. And no amount of technical analysis will fix that, because the problem isn't out there. It's in here. It's in how you respond when you don't know. And until you address that, you'll keep sabotaging yourself in new and creative ways. So, what does it actually look like to change this? It starts with awareness. Start noticing when uncertainty is driving your behavior. Not judging it, just noticing it. Oh, I'm hesitating because I'm uncomfortable with not knowing. Oh, I'm checking my position again because I need reassurance. Oh, I want to close this trade early because sitting with the possibility of it reversing feels unbearable. Just name it. That's the first step, because once you name it, it loses some of its power. It's no longer this vague discomfort controlling you in the background. It's just uncertainty, and you can make a choice about how to respond to it. The second step is to separate feelings from actions. You can feel uncertain and still take the trade. You can feel afraid and still let it run. You can feel doubtful and still follow your plan. Feelings are information. They're not instructions. Most traders treat every feeling like a command. I feel uncertain, so I shouldn't trade. I feel confident, so I should risk more. But feelings lie, especially in trading. Your confidence is often highest right before you blow up. Your fear is often highest right before the best opportunities. So you learn to feel what you feel, acknowledge it, and then act based on your system, not your state. And the third step, the one that takes the longest, is building trust in your process. Not trust that it will work every time. Trust that it will work over time. Trust that you don't need to know what happens next because you know what you'll do either way. You know your risk. You know your rules. You know how you'll respond, whether you win or lose. That trust doesn't eliminate uncertainty, but it makes uncertainty irrelevant. And that's the shift. That's the moment you stop being hijacked. When uncertainty stops being something you need to fix or escape or eliminate, and it just becomes part of the landscape. Like weather, you don't control the weather. You just prepare for it. This isn't a motivational idea. This is a practical, psychological shift that changes everything. Because once you're not fighting uncertainty anymore, you have so much more energy. Energy to focus on execution. Energy to learn from your mistakes. Energy to actually improve instead of just surviving. And you start to notice something else. The traders who struggle the most are the ones who need to be right, who need to know, who need the market to confirm their intelligence. But the traders who last, who build something real, they've let go of needing to be right. They're just trying to be consistent. They're just trying to execute. They're just trying to stay in the game long enough for probabilities to work. That's all this is. Staying in the game, not blowing up, not quitting, not letting uncertainty turn you into someone who can't follow their own rules. You're capable of this, but not if you keep demanding that trading feel certain. Not if you keep treating discomfort like a signal to stop. Not if you keep waiting to feel ready. You're never going to feel ready. That's the point. The traders who win aren't the ones who feel ready. They're the ones who act anyway. So the next time you're sitting there, feeling that tightness, that pull to do something, anything, to make the uncertainty go away, just pause, breathe. Remind yourself, this is the job. This is what I signed up for. I don't need to know what happens next. I just need to do what I said I would do. And then do it. That's how you take your power back, not by controlling the market. By controlling yourself in the presence of the uncontrollable, uncertainty will always be there. But it doesn't have to hijack you. Not anymore. If this resonated with you, there are more conversations like this waiting. But for now, sit with what you've heard. Let it settle. And when you're ready, I'll be here.